You know, a recent report says that Democrats becoming increasingly worried about those midterm elections coming up in the fall amid the president's sinking approval rating and a loss in a special House election seat in Florida last week. Now, all this while Republican-aligned groups continue well-funded attacks on the president's new health care law. Now, the real question is, should Democrats be frightened here by the Obama factor? And a few off the record are saying they are, and they're wondering when the money is going to start coming in. Well, a little earlier today, I spoke with local Congresswoman Nita Lowey, a power in Democratic ranks in Congress. She represents Westchester and Rockland County in New York. Here's part of our conversation. Congresswoman, as always, I really appreciate a few. You and your St. Patrick's Day colors, absolutely, right back at you. You saw the story in the Times, and it's hardly the only place reported that a lot, not yourself necessarily, but a lot of other Democrats are concerned in the midterm season. Historically, it's tough for the party in power, for the House and the president to stay. That said, though, you got a lot of people worried with the approval ratings of the president. I'm sure some folks have come to you and said, we're concerned here, Congresswoman, the president, Obamacare, it's adding up to be a tough equation to win in November.
First of all, I always work hard. I was out in my district today, visited with a whole range of people, spoke about the transportation of crude oil. So when every election comes about, I am working very, very hard. And there are always challenges. And whether it is the economy, we've seen some improvement. There's 6.7% unemployed. We'd like to do more, and that's why I'm so involved with investing in infrastructure, transportation, making sure that we are investing in ways to create jobs, getting the economy moving again. So if the economy is strong, people are usually happy. If they're working, if they feel that they have a fair shot at a good job, then they'll support the candidates that are running. But look, I have said many times that Citizens United has really destroyed the process. The amount of money that's spent on campaigns, to me, is outrageous. When you can...
If I can interrupt, there were some Democrats who went unquoted who said, listen, I'm good at raising money, but I'm getting outspent big time here back in my districts by these third-party groups. Where's the Democratic money? When's cavalry coming? Is there a concern within Democratic circles that you're not fighting fire with fire, that there's not enough third-party money coming on the Democratic side to rebut the Koch dollars in the rest of the world?
Well, look, when the Kochs come in a year before the election, spending $1 million in some of the Democratic districts, this is a warning to our democracy. So Democrats are raising money as well, but we've got to address the big money factor because it is so wrong. But when you talk about the race in Florida, first of all, the Republicans have been in charge of that district for over 50 years, and yet Alex Sink just lost by 2 points. So most people who understand the politics of that region think that if she runs in the general, she has a much better chance of winning. But there's no doubt the amount of money that is being spent in campaigns is distorting the process.
Jeannie, listen, Congresswoman Lowey is, she won't say it, but she's realistically not going to be really threatened in this race. However, a lot of Democrats are nervous, and they're more, what would you say they're more nervous about? The problems or perceived problems of Obamacare right now and the attachment to the president on that policy, or this third-party spending? Some districts are seeing $1 million from the outside coming in, and they're waiting for the cavalry to come here for the Democratic money to spend it on the other side, and it hasn't shown up. Is it the money or is it the policy?
I'd say they should be frightened about both. You know, they need President Obama out there raising money, but you're absolutely right. Can that, you know, compete with the outside spending? They're going to need the liberal groups, and there are liberal groups on the other side that can do spending. But the real problem for them is going to be turnout. I mean, that's the real issue here, and also messaging. It's a very hard message for them to fight, you know, this constant drumbeat on Obamacare, and they haven't found a good way to do it. They've tried, and it hasn't been successful. I don't know that Florida 13 is the best example, but it's certainly one example. So they really need to work hard on that.
Look, that was a Republican district.
Well,
that the Democrats had hopes in.
Jolly was by all accounts one of the worst candidates Republicans had ever seen. He's a lobbyist, just divorced with a 20-year-old girlfriend out on the campaign trail.
It's meaningless. It's just it wasn't a Democratic loss.
It was a Democratic loss. You had a very strong candidate there.
That seat was held by a Republican before the special election. So it's not a Democratic loss. It's not meaningless. It does have the implications you raise. But everybody, again, what did I say before?
I have a question for you.
It's early.
See, you'll like this. It's a compliment to you.
Wait a minute.
Well,
is this on TV?
It's a half compliment. My point is, the Democratic outside groups, so don't even make it about the party, or the party could even do it, but they have something to go on if they want to. This whole idea, the American public believes unemployment insurance should be extended. They believe the minimum wage should be $10 and 10 cents. Well, let me finish. The Republicans in the last week have said things like, you don't want to be poor? Stop being poor. Or, you know what? Instead of getting a school bag lunch here, fill it up with some hope or some nonsense. Why don't they take, and it polls great for Democrats.
Timing is everything in politics.
You think the money's going to come with that messaging?
I think there will be, and I think the Republicans have enormous vulnerabilities, but I don't know that in an off-year election, with a president whose popularity has slipped, with an issue like Obamacare, which wrongly is being used to make certain points, but it's actually being used that way. I don't know if that's enough. It's early. It's not spring yet. These kind of things will be decided in September and October. Whether the Democrats can marshal enough outside money to combat this other stuff is going to be the issue.
And whether the outside money has to think they're not throwing good money after bad. They got to think that they're still in play and viable. That's why I disagree that it isn't getting laid early.
The polling shows a marginal congressional preference for Democratic ballot. Everybody take a deep breath. Relax.
But the history shows that in these off-year elections, the average since World War II is 29 seats of a loss.
I am not predicting a Democratic sweep.
The Senate can be picked up by the Republicans. So it is an iffy year for Democrats, and they have to look at this midterm election, not the 16 race, which is where the money may go.
It is an iffy year. They could lose, as you describe it, but there's no reason to start running around yelling, the sky is falling.
I like to panic, Richard.
All right, well, you're doing a beautiful job.
All right.
I do that for you, and then you can scream relax.
All right.
Now, when we come back, Dominic's conversation with the good Reverend. When we do come back, Dominic, you're going to be talking to him about we talked about the power of the N-word last week. What are we going to hear when we come back?
Some interesting topics. We're going to get his take on Mayor de Blasio, in which he said to me the mayor has to understand he's no longer the public advocate. Also, Governor Cuomo and Mayor Bloomberg.
That's all straight ahead. Stay with us.